Hi everybody, this is Oksana and today we're going to make another little flower pendant, but unlike my last one, for this one you don't have to have a copper washer, and I think it turned out really cute and it's a pretty simple project and it uses all round wire and some beads. So if you want to see how to make this little flower, just keep watching. And before we get started, I just really quickly want to say that if you're not already subscribed, I really hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, the thumbs up down below. And if you want to be notified of when I post new videos, which is every weekend, just hit that notification bell. So I'm starting out with one piece of wire, and this is 18 gauge, dead soft, round copper wire, and it's about 4.5 inches long. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a little circle, and I'm gonna use a size 1 ring on a ring mandrel. So if you have a ring mandrel, if you don't, just try to find some kind of little circle to bend it around. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bend it around, then I'm gonna kind of bring it to the front here. Then once you kind of bring it around to the front, if you have an end that is shorter and an end that is longer, you want to do this to the longer one. You want to take your pliers and you want to just put a sharp bend into it like this. So the other wire is just still going straight across, but one of the wires has a sharp bend. So now we're going to take the other wire, the one without the bend, and let me just zoom in a little bit here. We're going to take that wire and we're just going to start pulling on it and wrapping it around the other wire like this. All right, so we're just going to press on that. You can remove it now. So this is going to be the front and this is going to be the back, and on the back here is where we want to trim this wire. So we're just going to trim it like that, and then we're just going to press down on that little wire end so that it's not sticking out so much. There we go. Just kind of smushed it down a little. All right, so now if we go back to the front, this is going to be our bail. We're going to make our bail with this. So depending on how big you need the bail to be, I'm going to make a fairly small bail because this is a pretty small pendant, but you need the bail to fit your necklace or chain or whatever you're wearing this on. So I'm going to be using round nose pliers, and I'm just going to grab, I'm going to bend the wire forward. Then I'm going to bring it on the part of the round nose pliers that I want to be the size of my bail. So I'm going to do it here towards the back where it's a little bit wider. And I'm going to bring it around like this. So here's my bail. So I'm going to grab it with my regular pliers and hold it like this. And then I'm going to take this wire and I'm just going to wrap it around and around until it gets to the back like this. And then I'm just going to press on it to just kind of tighten everything up here. And here's the wire on the back. The way you want to cut this is so it kind of meets up. You'll see in a second, hopefully, if my camera will focus here. There we go. So it meets up with the other wire. See, there's the other wire end and then there's this wire end. So then you just press down on it so it's not sticking up. And here you have both of the wire ends here together on the back. And here it is from the front. Might have to straighten out your bail if it got a little bit bent to the side or anything like that. But overall, this is the kind of thing that you should have now. And by making this, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make a pendant here similar to this one. This is the one that I came up with when I was brainstorming tutorial ideas, but it uses a copper washer, and I know I've done like a million copper washer videos recently, and I thought, well, what if someone doesn't have any? And I figured how I would make the little round frame out of wire instead. But if you do happen to have copper washers, you can use one and then make a separate bail and attach it. I attached it just with the thin wire here. Or you can make it like this out of 18 gauge wire. So now I would recommend hammering just this round bit to make it a little flatter and a little stronger if you happen to have a hammer and an iron block. Alright, so here's what it looks like after I have hammered it. Just looks a little bit flatter here. And now we're going to use some 26 gauge wire, still round dead soft copper. I buy my copper wire from riogrande.com. And this is, it's a longer one because we need it to go around a bunch of times. So it's about 14 inches. And what you want to do is grab a few inches tail end for yourself before you go ahead and start using this. So we're going to put it through our little ring here. Here's the little tail end, and then we're just going to wrap it around just one time to attach it like this. Okay, and then after you've wrapped it around that one time, we're just going to bring this up and we're going to start adding our beads. So the beads that I'm using are just from this little tube that I got many years ago, I think from Michael's. Here's detail about them. Unfortunately, I don't think it says the size. Actually, maybe, yeah, it doesn't really. So just whatever kind of smallish beads you have that will fit inside of the circle without being so big that they cover up the middle, because in the middle we're going to put another bead for the middle of the flower. The only difference it makes, if your beads are, a little bigger, you might need less of them to cover this whole space. If they're a little smaller, well, I probably wouldn't recommend going much smaller than my beads here, because mine are pretty small already. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this wire through to the back, or you can just, use the end of it, poke it through. So here is our little bead, and we're just going to kind of curve the wire like this to attach the bead, and then we're going to take it and we're going to push it through. So I really like to push through like this rather than taking the end and feeding it through. I don't know why, it's just easier for me. But if it's easier for you to do it the other way, that's fine. So now we're back to how we were before. And there's going to be some spacing here between the beads. Don't try to get it as tight as possible. The beads need space. Alright, so here's our next bead. We're just going to slide it down. Here it is. So you can just feed this wire through. And kind of curve it down a little bit. And now we're just going to feed it through again to make a little wrap. And now we're ready for our third bead. So I'm just going to do a few more beads and then I'll do the last one with you because it's just very repetitive at this point. Alright, so I kept adding beads and I ended up with 7, and this is going to be the 8th one that I'm adding. This is going to be the last bead here that I have room for. So this wire needs to kind of go through here. At this point the little wire end is short, so you can just push it through like this. So I added the bead, I'm pushing the wire through from the front to the back, and it's all about squishing this bead in here and getting it to fit. There we go, that fits. Okay, so we have this tail end. I'm just going to move it here on the left so it's not in my way. and then we have this. So with this one, just going to wrap it around. Just one time should be adequate, and that's holding everything in place. So our flower is complete. And now we're going to come back, we're going to leave this, we're going to work on that after, but we're going to come back here to this wire end. So if we just kind of push it in the direction that it's going here towards the back. So we're just going to take it and we're going to put it down like this, so that you have 4 beads on one side and 4 on the other side. So this is the back now. And you just want to find a bead that will look nice and fit nice in this area here. So for me, that's this bead here. I just looked through my stash, and because the gap is kind of large, I needed a larger bead. So this one kind of fits perfectly. And then from the front, looks like this. So what you want to do is just wrap this little tail end around this little edge. Like this, and you can wrap it around a few more times and trim it off. Or if you don't want to have a lot more wraps here on the bottom to kind of throw off the number of wraps, because it's just like a few, but then here you would have a whole bunch. Another thing you can do that's kind of more difficult, but you can take it, this is still the back of the piece, you can feed it through the bead again. So here it is going through the bead again. It's important that you wrapped it at least once before you do this, so. And then you just kind of pull it through, and as you pull it through, you kind of guide this little loop so it doesn't get like a big tangle in it. There we go. So once you've pulled it through completely, it'll be right here. And now you can just wrap it here around this top area somewhere. So I'm just going to bring it to the front, and then I'm just going to wrap it around. There's some space right here. So I'm just going to wrap it around a few times before I just trim it off. This top part is going to have a little leaf on it, so it's not going to look as weird if it has extra wraps, you know, because that's where the bail and everything is. Alright, so now once you're ready to finish that off, I would just trim it, leave yourself a little tiny wire end there, and we're just going to tuck that little wire end in there into the circle so it gets hidden away. So now our flower is complete. We just have to finish off our wire and add a leaf. And one thing you can do if you see this wire too clearly that's going through here, you can kind of grab it and just push on it a little bit, and that will push it a little more towards the back. Alright, so now this wire here, this is the front of the pendant. If you have some kind of bead that looks like a little leaf, or just maybe a green bead, something that would go good with your flower, or you don't even have to do anything here. This is totally optional, but I'm just adding a little leaf. So I'm positioning it into place, and I'm just wrapping it around from the front to the back. And now I'm just going to wrap this little wire right around my bail. So I'm just going to pull that through, make sure my leaf is good, in a good position. And that's it. We just have to make a few wraps so that it stays in place nicely, and then we'll be able to trim that off. And I don't know if you can hear it, but it's like raining really hard outside. But today is my filming day, so rain or shine. Hopefully it's not too disturbing. There we go, and now we can trim it, and I would just trim it so you can tuck away the little end into the bail. So you just take it and just kind of curve it in there with your pliers like this. And that's it. That is our little pendant. And here it is on a cord necklace alongside with the one where I used the copper washer for comparison. And then this is just another one I did with 18 gauge wire when I was just trying out this design. So that's it. I think it's really cute and pretty simple to make, a good fun project. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.